Hi, this is Dan again from CleanGuru. So last time I mentioned that I would talk about the one-word secret to getting testimonials, and I will do that. It's really something that comes up an awful lot. We get a lot of calls about this, and we really do understand. Folks call and they say, I don't have any testimonials. What should I do? And we might ask, well, when you ask for them, how is that going? And they go, well, I'm not doing that. And it really points out something important, which is it's this idea that they are, and I remember we were too in the early days. You're kind of waiting for someone to send you in a testimonial. I think we're wired that way. We're wired to not ask for things, but instead to wait for someone out of the goodness of their heart to think of you and love you so much in your cleaning company to send you in unsolicited a testimonial for your cleaning business. And it happens, by the way. I mean, we've had it happen too, and maybe you have an awful lot also. I hope so. It's wonderful. When an unsolicited testimonial comes in, it's a great thing. It's a great thing. But it doesn't happen all the time, and especially when you're starting, you're looking to have some. Now, remember, you don't need a ton of them. If you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these, that's great. And so your goal might be 5 to 10, and that's plenty as far as we're concerned. There's companies that have a lot of them, and then you can break them into banks and healthcare, and you can break your testimonials up into categories based on the job that you're bidding on. But initially, and really for a long time, having 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 testimonials references the same way is a fine thing. But again, I think we're wired not to necessarily ask for them. And the one-word secret to getting testimonials is, you might have guessed, ask. Ask. I mean, it starts with something as simple as that. If you ask for them, you will be pleasantly surprised at how people are responsive to that, and often glad to give you one. They do like you. It's just not, you're just not in their thoughts all the time, and so you need to kind of raise the question. So that's the first step. If you want to get a little bit more aggressive about it, here's an idea. Have a plan or a calendar, a schedule. Again, we always talk about systems. If you actually had a calendar that said, well, today it's the last week, I always call five customers just to see how they're doing and to explain that we're trying to grow and we value them as a customer, would they be willing to give us a review or a testimonial about our performance? Very often they're willing to do that. And if they're not, and they mention to you, no, I'm not happy with this, well, you've learned something there anyway because they pointed out something that you're missing. That's important. Well, that's more aggressive. Here's another thing that you could do to be even more aggressive. Say someone calls, and by aggressive I mean that in the best sense of the word, maybe proactive. So let's say that the customer calls to compliment you about something. They say, it has just been wonderful here. We love who you put in here, how they clean. This has been great. You could say, I appreciate that, and by no means feel any pressure, but we really appreciate those wonderful comments. We're trying to grow. Would you be willing to jot down a sentence or two or give us, and of course with video, you could even do video too for websites, a testimonial. Even want to get more aggressive? You could call to follow up on jobs that you've done to see how they went. Now this is proactive. Say you stripped and refinished all the tile in the lunchroom and the hallways, and you called to say, just wanted to see, make sure there was nothing out of order. Did we put everything back? Did it look the way you wanted it? And they say, are you kidding? It looks fantastic. You guys always do such a great job of doing tile floors. You might again say, again, don't feel any pressure, but I would like to ask you, would you be willing to give us a testimonial? You're a great business customer, and it'd be wonderful as we try to grow to have that available. So the one-word secret to getting testimonials is ask. You can do it in any fashion that you want to, but that does move things along, and in no time, you should have a good list. Again, it doesn't have to be an awfully long list, but they do help an awful lot. Okay. Next time, we're going to talk about another common question that we hear. It'll be interesting. It'll be how many brochures. Now, I'm saying brochures only because it's a very common thing people talk about. If you remember last time, we talked about calls and letters and series letters and surveys and all kinds of things, and sales letters in particular. But very often, folks use the word brochure. So we'll talk about that. How many brochures should I send out to my prospects? Maybe each month. So how many should I be sending out to get a good flow of business? We'll talk about that next time. Until then, remember, you can do this. You really can.